After a winter storm brought a trail of heavy snow and ice from Kansas to Delaware, a new winter storm is on the radar and could bring potentially record snowfall from North Texas all the way to the Northeast later this week into the weekend. In this video, I'll be showing you what this storm could be about to do, but first, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more weather updates. So, here's a look at the simulated precipitation on the GFS model, and it starts off with light snowfall across the western U.S. for January 7th, January 8th, Tuesday and Wednesday. But then, as we go towards Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, you have snowfall starting to show up in northern Texas and eastern Oklahoma, even parts of Arkansas. And this is that winter storm setting up. To the south of that, you have heavy rain where it's probably going to be too warm for snow there. But then, it really intensifies going into Thursday night into early Friday across northeastern Texas and Arkansas. And this turns into a pretty decent winter storm, and then the heavy snowfall throughout the day on Friday, January 10th, the snowfall really spreads into the Midwest, parts of the Great Lakes region in the Ohio Valley, and also the parts of the South, like Tennessee, Kentucky, those areas. And then you start seeing freezing rain showing up across parts of eastern Tennessee and also northeastern Georgia and parts of the Carolinas. This could be a significant ice storm, potentially. But then you have, to the north of that, you have snowfall across the Ohio Valley. And then, notice what happens going into Saturday, January 11th. This blows up into an actual nor'easter. You have a pretty intense low-pressure system, 977 millibars, right over New York City. And the GFS model has been showing this for a while. The forecast models have really been showing this for a while. And you have really heavy snow across the New Jersey, the New York City area, even Connecticut going towards the Boston area. And then going into Saturday night into early Sunday, you have this moves towards Maine. And this is a very intense nor'easter system. And you're going to have possibly blizzard conditions, really, because this intense low pressure system is going to generate a lot of wind. But really heavy snow across parts of Maine going into Saturday night into Sunday morning on January 12th. And then that's that very, very significant winter storm that we're talking about. It looks like the weather pattern quiets down after that, but with very cold temperatures across most of the U.S. afterwards for at least another week. And this continues really until there's a potential for more winter storms. This time it looks like across the western U.S., more rain and heavy snow and even freezing rain for the northwestern U.S., and then possibly another snow and ice storm for Texas and the Gulf Coast, possible by January 21st and 22nd, that time frame. That's what the GFS is showing. The Euro model is showing heavier snow across northern Texas going towards Arkansas on Thursday and Thursday night, but then the Euro model really fizzles this out. It doesn't really do anything with it. It just kind of disappears off the East Coast without turning into that big nor'easter system. And then the Euro's showing possibly more activity. Things quiet down for a few days before you get possibly some more activity for the western U.S. and then also, again, possibly around Texas or places even further north across the Midwest by January 19th and 20th time frame, possibly. And what's interesting about this, what makes it interesting and also kind of complicated with this significant winter storm is, here's the 500 millibar height and vorticity. You kind of have a cutoff low across the southwestern U.S., northwestern Mexico, Wednesday night going to Thursday, and then what happens is it's kind of connects to a bigger trough, and this really kicks off that storm over Texas and parts of the South. But then notice it kind of merges, and then it kind of changes a little bit where it really hands off to another trough coming down from the Midwest in the Ohio Valley, and that kicks off this big nor'easter. There's several parts to this system. We're pretty confident on this snowstorm for Texas. How heavy the snow is, that's still probably subject to change, but further out with this big nor'easter, we'll have to see what happens with that, because the GFS is showing a powerful trough really kicking off a massive nor'easter, especially on Saturday, going to Saturday night for the Northeast. But then the Euro model is a little bit different. You have still the same thing with this kind of a cutoff low, and then it kind of merges with this other trough. But then notice the Euro just pushes it. You have this trough that really it just pushes it off the East Coast without really doing anything for the Northeast. But the snowfall over Texas is pretty certain. We have the Weather Prediction Center's day 3 to 7 hazards outlook looking at heavy snow across northern Texas going to Arkansas for January 9th and 10th. Heavy snowfall for this area, and this is including Dallas. You could have heavy snowfall. Here's a look at the actual snowfall accumulations. According to the Euro model, this model is thinking over a foot of snow, 12 inches, literally over a foot of snow for Dallas. Now, that would be a big problem, and this would be, I think, a record amount of snowfall for Dallas. That's a lot of snow all at once happening over just a day or two. That's a massive snowstorm for Texas. Possibly a foot of snow for the Dallas area. You know, also southeastern Oklahoma, northern Texas in general, and western Arkansas seeing possibly 8 to 12 inches of snow in this whole general area, according to the Euro model. And then a few inches of snow further to the north and the east across the South and the Ohio Valley, maybe anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. But then the Northeast doesn't really see anything because the storm kind of moves off the East Coast without doing anything significant. A lot of this snowfall is what's already fallen from this storm that's moving off the coast of the mid-Atlantic. Not much snow for the Northeast or anything on the Euro model, but record snowfall for Texas. And then the GFS model is a little bit different. It shows less snowfall for Texas, but still over the Dallas area, possibly 7 inches of snow. That's still very, very significant and impactful snowfall for Dallas. And then they're showing significant snowfall going into Arkansas, and also the South could see probably 4 to 7 inches of snowfall across parts of Tennessee and Kentucky. But then it really blows up in the Northeast with possibly 2 to 3 feet of snow all across this area here. Very heavy snowfall and blizzard conditions, possibly 16 inches of snow for New York City. These snowfall amounts are definitely subject to change, but this is a very, very significant snowstorm potentially from Thursday going into the weekend, especially for the Northeast if this whole nor'easter thing happens. But very significant snowfall for the Dallas area, no matter what. And then the GFS model is also showing some icing for the Carolinas, possibly half an inch of freezing rain across North Carolina, South Carolina, even northeastern Georgia, parts of Virginia, possibly seeing a quarter to a half inch of freezing rain. And then if there's another winter storm closer to that January 20th to January 22nd time frame, the GFS is thinking significant icing could be possible across parts of southeastern Texas going into Louisiana, and also parts of the Pacific Northwest. That's further out, but what we do know is this very significant snowstorm from Texas and also possibly the Northeast. That's your winter storm, but then you also have these well below average temperatures still going on for the next several days across parts of these areas that just got this winter storm, and I think all that snowfall is going to help drop those temperatures, keep those temperatures lower across these areas. But you still have these well below average temperatures that will continue for a while, and temperatures still 20 degrees below average even across the South. This is actually behind that big winter storm. Then temperatures dropping down to 30 degrees below average in some places. And then notice what happens. This continues even mid-January. You notice things really starting to warm up across Canada. Things still below average across the eastern part of the U.S., the South. But then all those warmer temperatures across Canada, boom. This really, you could see a massive change going into that January 18th, January 19th, January 20th. This is still a couple weeks out, but the GFS is showing this massive Arctic blast, another sustained amount of well below average temperatures, possibly 50 degrees below average across southwestern Canada, going into over 40 degrees below average across the Ohio Valley, potentially. This is almost the entire U.S. The only place that's not seeing well below average temperatures is the Southwest. Everything else, that Arctic air is just in full force coming down across the U.S. The Euromodel is showing it too. It's a little different, but basically similar, with well below average temperatures focused on the western U.S. though, and the western part of the U.S. and even the central U.S. to some extent. But this Arctic air is going to continue, and I think this could lead to, in some places, the coldest January in at least 10 years. The GFS model showing the actual temperatures, you can see sub-zero temperatures from Missouri all the way over to Kentucky and Ohio later this week, and then behind that winter storm, we could have more cold temperatures dropping below zero again for these same areas. And it just kind of comes in waves where it'll kind of warm up temporarily in some areas. This is showing by January 15th, temperatures warming up above freezing for a lot of places in the central U.S., but then more cold temperatures come down, and then this significant Arctic blast bring below zero temperatures all the way back down into parts of the South. Temperatures maybe 10 degrees below zero across parts of Kentucky and Ohio, and also for the Northeast, temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below zero, and temperatures approaching 30 degrees below zero across the northern plains by January 22nd. Very cold temperatures for these portions of the U.S. We also have some very strong Santa Ana winds across Southern California, bringing critical fire weather conditions this is for Tuesday, January 7th, Wednesday, January 8th, and Thursday, January 9th across parts of Southern California, especially north and east of LA. It looks like the worst is going to be on Wednesday, and I think these might turn into some extremely critical fire weather conditions because of some very, very strong wind gusts, and I think this is partially related to the storm that's going to bring the Texas winter storm. And you can see some of the wind gusts even in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and also, of course, in Southern California, but also the Sierra Nevada mountains. Wind gusts anywhere from 75 to 85 miles an hour in some locations. This is wild. That's going to lead to, especially in Southern California, it's going to be dry winds, leading to some extreme fire danger Tuesday going to Wednesday. Yeah, that's another thing that could cause a lot of problems over there. That's today's weather outlook. Hope it helped. If it did, please make sure you give it a like, share the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more weather updates. Thanks for watching. Extreme Weather Zone, out.